Hello once again, and welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious, we will discuss the films and streaming delights you care about most. And tonight we're going to review The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 8, titled The Rescue. This is the season finale. Oh, my goodness. There's a lot to talk about. There are crazy reveals. There are crazy stingers. And lots of tears. Oh, the entire internet cried on Friday night. All right, so let me introduce the crew, starting off with Chris Slattery. He's the Slat Man. How you doing, sir?
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Freaking-tastic! You see anything good over the weekend?
Nah. Don't know what you're talking about.
Also joining us tonight is podcasting Rockstar and international cosplay queen, Vanessa Thompson. Vanessa, how you doing? With your Mickey Mouse sweater? Or is that jammies?
No, this is a Christmas sweater. Okay. I'm not always in pajamas. I gotta pay homage to the mouse for giving us the Mandalorian. I don't know. I just rewatched the last episode, so I'm doing all right, but I'm not doing all right.
I watched it for the third time before as I was watching dinner.
My goodness, that might be the best episode of television I've seen, maybe ever.
I'm sure you have more to share about that. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker and Star Wars fan extraordinaire, Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
All I can say is dank ferric, son of a mud scuffer, clunky. Or in any of the Star Wars curse words you could say, because nothing can really encompass what it felt like watching this episode.
Mud scuffer.
Son of a mud scuffer.
I know you're gonna. That's hard not to screw up. Or hard. Yes, I think. I'm not sure what I said there, but we'll go with it. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to go around. We're going to give our first impressions, and then we're going to have a big, happy spoiler full. We're just going to spoil the crap out of this because if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and listen to us. And then we're going to give our final thoughts, our score and favorite scene, and then expect a lot of discussion about where did they go and what's up with that?
What are those?
Why didn't she? And all kinds of things. But let's start off with our first impressions, and we always like to start off with the Slat Man. Slat Man, lay it on us, man. Lay it on us.
It was fan-freaking-tastic.
I've heard that before.
Let's just say there's a reason I'm wearing green. There's a reason there's a lightsaber on my desk, and holy crap, this episode was amazing, and everything about it was top notch. From everything, acting, cinematography, music, reveals, badass moments, moments that'll make you cry. It's got it all, and it's only 43 minutes long.
Yes, I know.
It was the best 43 minutes of Star Wars I think I've seen since the OT trilogy, or the original trilogy.
Wow. I like that. I like that. That is actually high praise, and I think it earned it. All right, Vanessa, you're up next. What was your first impression of The Mandalorian?
Amazing. The perfect way to end this season, really. And the female SWAT team is like my favorite thing ever. I don't think anyone can say anymore that Star Wars is ignoring female characters or isn't developing them properly, because I think everything that people may have had a problem with in Star Wars, The Mandalorian has corrected, and that is one of the major things it's corrected, because these women were amazing. That was such a great fight, and Cara Dune is just like so badass. It's so awesome. So many surprises. my first impression is just me like screaming at the top of my lungs because I'm so happy and excited. I don't think I could have asked for anything better. And we had so many theories prior to this, and really, I think the best option worked out.
I wanted purple, but green.
I know. I did too. Clearly, I did, but that would take the story in a completely different direction.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm not saying that. But, all right, Christopher G. Moore, sir. I imagine you cried for a good hour.
I was pretty bad off, and then I watched it again, and I was upset again. So it's funny. I watched a TikTok where this little girl watched it before her parents did. And her parent kept videotaping all through the night, and she was still crying, even when she was brushing her teeth. Are you still upset? Yeah. Aww. And I felt kind of like that. Well, but the awesome thing about the episode is there's a part that makes you cry, and then there's a part that made me smile from ear to ear during the stinger.
Oh yeah, among others.
But yeah. It's kind of weird now because now we also have haters that are coming out and saying, oh, they're just going back to, throwing in fan service and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I saw someone today post about like, oh, how can someone cry over a little, like a puppet? And I was like, just shut the mud scuffer up.
Yes, that's right.
I have words for that later.
I don't understand that. It's like, that's the magic of storytelling. If it can transcend whatever special effects or whatever you're doing to make you emote and feel for those characters. And if you don't, maybe you're just a soulless human being. You have no heart. You make the Grinch seem like he's, the happiest person on earth. So it's just get over yourself. And the thing is, like, as a Star Wars fan, and again, I love all of Star Wars, minus the 70s Star Wars holiday special, not really count as canon. But I've loved everything. I've loved everything from the Escape to Endor movies, those Ewok movies. I've watched the droids cartoons. Everything Star Wars I love. I've loved the prequels, even though I have problems with certain things, but I still enjoy them. I love the new films, even though people want to crap on them. People just seem to want to crap on stuff for no reason. But I am glad that this series is really sort of like zeroed in on what makes Star Wars great. You can tell that Filoni and Favreau, they are fans, and it's not just fans taking at the helm, because even J.J. Abrams fans and other people are fans, but they also they see what makes Star Wars special, and and you still can tell a story, but also have those fan service moments. You can, this show has had some of the best action that none of these new films have ever really been able to tap into, at least not to this level. And also just the emotion part of it, and it's just, it's brought the fun back into this series that I'm glad that even not big fans and then huge fans we can all come together and enjoy it together. And this episode was the culmination of that, because they've done so many things, in the same way that Clone Wars helped to correct some things that people didn't like about the prequels. This has helped to sort of make the overall franchise better. How many times, for the same reason that Rogue One showed us the badass Darth Vader in his prime, we now get to see Luke Skywalker in his prime. You can see that like father, like son, definitely. We get to see him do badass stuff where I felt those chills that I felt when I was watching Rogue One during that Luke Skywalker sequence. When
Darth Vader.
Yeah, with Darth Vader. I'm sorry, Darth Vader Rogue One. He does like Luke Skywalker does in this one. And anytime you can see Luke just crush a robot like a Coke can, it's like whoa, and just also have throughout the first and now the second season, you see this whole arc of how, and that's great storytelling when you can have a character who show his growth throughout the series. And you've seen Din Djarin you can see his evolvement from when he began, where he only cared about himself, to where he cares about another another creature, and feels like that father figure. And then we also have that, people always keep pointing out about Lucas. He talks about storytelling. It's all about poetry, because in poetry things rhyme. So you have history that repeats itself, and you have it with this, in the same way that you have the ending of the original trilogy. There's an ending here involving Grogu and Mando that's just the same. I want to look at you with my own eyes moment. So yeah, I mean, and God, I'm getting emotional to talk about it. That moment between Grogu and Mando was powerful.
Absolutely.
And you can say what you want to say, but to have like a character who's animated by people off on the side to make you care about it, to where it's like a real human being, that is storytelling. And that's where you can't fake that. You have to build that relationship over time and make it to where people care about those characters, to where if Grogu's taken away or has to leave, you care about that. And you also see, the heartbreak that Mando has in that specific moment. That's true storytelling. And again, that's what Star Wars is all about, and people can laugh about the crazy sayings, nerf herder, or whatever you want to say. Oh, there's these crazy creatures. It's so silly. It's all about pew pew pew. But there's more to it. It's still a story about characters that you care about, and it's all about relationships that you care about, and that's what this show gets fully. And I'm all about. I really don't care what people say. Like, oh God, we're making all these Star Wars shows. Make as many as you want. I don't care if they put as much effort and passion into this. Make whatever, because I will watch whatever they create from this point on, because I feel like these people know what they're doing, because they put their heart, sweat, and tears into this to make it fun again, make it emotional. It's not cold like the space that they fly through. It's pure heart and fun. And what more can you ask for?
So I guess you liked
a little bit.
All right, so I'll just chime in real quick that I mean, they basically make the John Wayne figure of this series cry. So you don't see that often, right? You don't see the Clint Eastwood character cry, but he did, and oh man, it breaks your heart. So I guess we threw some spoilers in here during our first impressions. Right. Regardless, well earned. The this episode, I did watch it. It's the only one I've watched 3 times in a row. I think I watched a couple other ones, maybe at least twice, sometimes 3 times. But I watched back, one day after another. I watched it 3 times, and it's just so good. It is, the pacing is so great. The confrontations are so great. The dark troopers are so menacing and so well realized, and they're you get the confrontation between Mando and the one that gets out the door, and you just realize how what a threat they are. And then he I love how he shoots the rest of them out to space, but that doesn't stop him. But that was a great moment. I just love the visual. And how they go. It's just so well done, and what's really interesting is that the pacing is so chaotic, but yet at the same time, it's an exercise in patience. And I know that sounds like a contradiction, but it isn't. I mean, you look at the scene when the dark troopers are banging on the door, and you just get this shot after shot of the characters, and the camera zooms in, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" Until the one the single X-wing comes in. Oh, great. One X-wing. We're saved. Yeah. Little did she know. Little did she know. We all guessed that the show would end with the reveal of a Jedi. It certainly did. I think it did more so than I had thought it would. And the one thing I feared, it overcame. So, yay. I mean, from the moment that Mando and Boba Fett go and get what's the character's name? I'm totally off my thing. Bo-Katan, and the whole bar fight scene, and to the moment that they're telling us about their plan and then executing their plan, and you have the 4 girls, like you said, the 4 female characters kicking ass. They were so great, and it really wasn't a big deal that they were all female characters. It was just these great characters, and they were awesome. And I do want to ask a question to Slatman to come back around to, is that when she's holding the guns up, Bo-Katan, and toward the end, it just felt like the cartoon version of her just stepping into live action. It really did feel like it. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, every time she's on screen, it's felt that way.
Yeah, it was like, she just. We get a really great fight with Moff Gideon and Mando and his treachery. Damn him! Don't you hit Mando in the back? It's just so much stuff is so well laid out. I really, Vanessa, I have to agree with you. This might be one of the best hours, and it's actually just 45 minutes of television I think I've ever seen. It's in and of itself, I think it ranks as high as many of the movies that we've seen. It's it has a couple flaws, but I quickly overlooked those, and then it gives us a stinger that I think I cheered too, Christopher. I cheered too. Oh my God. Yeah. Seeing Jabba's palace again. But I have one more comment real quick, and then we'll get to all comments, is that I really, there you go. I really noticed, except for you need, the fat Twilight. There he is.
Bib got fat.
He did.
Oh, no, he went from Twi'lek to Twi-thick.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Wasn't he also holding the same staff that he had with his action figure?
He might have.
I think he did.
He kind of fell on it, too. The music. I just want to say something about the music real quick. This had some great musical moments.
Oh my God, amazing!
You get all these themes in it. Yeah, my favorite theme is Mando's theme when he comes walking out of the ship and plays his theme. That's great. And then of course we get the dueling sons. Is that right? Or twin sons? I forget which one it is, but first time we've heard it in the series, right? God, that was so great. It just flowed right into it, and just made that moment that was going to be that much wower.
Mm-hmm.
We also
the Dark Troopers, their
music was great, wasn't it?
Skrillex.
What a way to modernize the Star Wars score, right? To put music like that in it was just fantastic, because the person doing the score for these shows has such a beautiful way of bringing new things in that are interesting and cool and really catch your attention while still staying true to what John Williams created. It's so, the music in this one in particular struck me too.
This particular episode, or
Well, he also repeated some music from the Frog Lady episode.
We got that, Megan?
Well, the music that plays when Grogu is looking into the little jar of frog babies, frogs, that sense of wonder when he's looking at it, that same music plays at the moment where Mando takes his helmet off.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you can take that, and it's just a sense of wonder for this kid looking at something and being amazed by it, to that emotional moment between Grogu and Mando. That it adds so much emotion to that scene.
That's too much.
Your heart just swells bigger just thinking about it.
Yeah. I love that we hear the pressurized thing when he takes it off.
Well, he needed that when he was getting his head punched in. I was like, oh God, this is like turning into Game of Thrones. Let's not crush his head.
got the crap beat out of him, right?
Yeah, I mean that fight is brutal, and I noticed it the second time, but when he's well, actually, this is before that, but the part where he opens up the door is almost like the T2 when he opens it. Also, his fight between Moff Gideon, there's a really wonderful move where he hits it, knocks it, and he kicks it back, and it is such amazing like choreography that I didn't notice until the second time around when I was watching. I was like, oh man, that's so badass.
Yeah, I noticed him kicking it. I thought that was such a great move because he kept using his arm too to kind of give it that, instead of holding it, so he'd lose his fingers.
Yeah, but it is funny how it's like everything that Mando was throwing at that robot was like, even his little things he shoots out. I mean, nothing seemed to work, and I guess it all comes down to just manual labor using a spear.
Can we take a moment to realize how menacing that shot was after he used the flamethrower, and the fire was just like engulfing around the Dark Trooper, and it was still like it was a very Terminator moment where it was just like still going me
from hell.
It looked fantastic. That was so well shot. And Payton Reed's a director here, the Ant-Man director, right? And he directed an episode earlier this season. What a great job he did. There are some great shots in here. There are some great moments from the very beginning when they confront the two pilots, and Cara Dune has to put up with that guy talking about her tear, right? And then Mando turns around. I love how it cuts to the title sequence. Mando just turns around and goes. He says everything just by a tilt of the head. This episode just has so much stuff, and I love how somebody said 18. Who said 18? Because it was an 18.
Yeah.
It was an 18 moment. They had, the plan. They told us the plan, and the plan came together, right? You love it when a plan comes together, right? It was. I just love how we got that. We have always gotten something similar to that, but never quite as precise and as well done as here. Like phase 1, we're going to do this, and phase 2, we're going to do that, and wow, it plays out.
Well, that whole scenario they played out, I think, is one of the best things they've done in the Star Wars universe. By taking that ship and like, hey, we need to land. These guys are coming after us. I don't think they've ever done that. Mm-hmm. It's mostly just them going in blasting. There's not any kind of like thought process into trying to sneak onto there. So yeah, I love that.
And blocking the path.
Blocking that Battlestar to Galactica path.
Yeah, well, there's a nod there for sure. But what a great shot of having watching the TIE fighters launch. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
That's cool. I mean, if I would, even as an adult, I'd love to have that ship launch TIE fighters out of it.
Pew, pew, pew. You're crazy. Oh, man. There's just so much to talk about in here. So should we just cut to the chase? No, let's don't. Let's talk about the Darksaber first. All right. Okay, so there's a moment that right. One of the things I thought of early on was I think that Mando was going to end up with the Darksaber, right? And that's going to cause some problems. That's what happens, right? He defeats Moff Gideon because Moff Gideon did the sneakeroo. They're looking up on the thing and I'm not there. I love the way he said that. Like, dude, that's obvious. You're here. But he had great dialogue. Moff Gideon had great dialogue. And just the way he said the word R, because they were the scum that they are. It just was great. Anyway, he defeats Gideon and he gets the Darksaber, but he can't give the Darksaber to Bo-Katan. Now we have a conflict, right, Slatman?
I mean, in theory, yes.
In theory, but she got handed the lightsaber by Sabine, and
it's different though.
Different circumstances.
But I guess she was. Did she fight Moff Gideon for that, or did Moff Gideon just steal it?
What, the Darksaber?
The Darksaber from her.
We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know what happened between Rebels and now.
So, I mean, my theory is that, because that's what everybody's arguing about, because I even saw a TikTok where this guy was getting upset about it, because it's like, Sabine just handed it to her and she took it, but now she doesn't want it. So
I guess the guy on TikTok knows better than like Dave Filoni.
I think Filoni
yeah, he must know something more than the guy who wrote it.
But I would assume that, you know, she was handed it, but then she had it taken away somehow by Moff Gideon. So she doesn't, I would just think just the honor part of it, she would feel like she would have to win it back naturally, because she didn't, evidently, maybe she didn't feel like just being handed it was really honorable enough. They also did it so easily.
Right. And she also did it in front of all the other Mandalorians. Yeah. So it was a ceremony, not, you know, this thing. It was more a matter of honor there, where this isn't. So it has to happen in a different way.
Yeah, and it's all about the story. It's not really, and it's all about the how it was retrieved, you know, kind of like how you said it was different circumstances. It was very ceremonial, you know, handing it off from one Mandalorian to another on Mandalore, like it's surrounded by people that of that culture and planet. But this time it's like, no, it's like, but a lot of people are saying, and I agree with this, is that obviously the Darksaber was taken by Moff Gideon
somehow. Yeah.
Yes, and Bo-Katan feels like she has to earn it back, since it was taken from her. So it being gifted to her again is not the same. It's not the same circumstances, because she has to earn the right to rule Mandalore back, and she has to earn the right to reunite Mandalore, which is really what it's going to come down to.
And now she's a pretender to the throne as Gideon. Gideon had a lot of chips, and he played every one he had, and he was toying with it with poor Din Djarin. He was like, right? He was like, "Oh, you don't get it. You don't know what you've done." You know?
Well, up until a moment where he looked like he just crapped his pants.
He did. He did look like he pooped his pants today. There's got to be something interesting there, because he knew what was happening.
Assume that I know everything.
Yes.
Well, he's old enough.
That's true. So if he does
know, you know, who a certain person is.
I mean, I feel like everyone in the Empire knows who he is, because I guess spoilers from here on out. Not only did he blow up Death Star 1, he was also, you know, assumed to have killed both Darth Vader and the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
yeah. So if he's trying to help to revive the Emperor, he knows the person that helped defeat him. So I think that alone, he's like, oh crap, you know, it's not good on my end. So I might as well.
This is the one.
Take Grogu out.
Yeah, this is the one person that I know I cannot do anything about.
All right, so we've got to talk about Luke at one point, but let's talk about the bar fight real quick. Vanessa, you had to have loved these two going at it, right? Boba Fett and what is Koska Reeves, right? Sasha Banks.
I did not love it the first time I was watching it. I was like, get your shit together, guys. We do not have time for this.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
In that sense, yeah. No, it was great. It was really a lot of fun to see the two of them kind of blow up at each other. They're both like sidekicks in this particular scenario.
Yeah, they are.
And then the way that they ended, like with the shooting the flames at each other, that's such a great moment, and it kind of takes your mind off of things for a minute, which is nice.
And she got some badass moves using that jetpack to help her out. She did that a couple times in the episode.
Although, that's straight from the Clone Wars. Like, by the way, like almost every Mandalorian like soldier like fights that way, and there are times where in the Clone Wars where like they're fighting like people like with lightsabers, and they sit there and they use the jetpack to their advantage in a similar way, and it's freaking awesome every time they do.
I mean, at the time when they pull the stormtrooper toward them while she goes at the stormtrooper and knocks the crap out of that stormtrooper. I mean, it was. I loved the dialogue. I loved the whole line about, I've heard your voice 1,000 times. Well, this is the last time you'll hear it. Right?
Oh, I know. Well, and in that moment, I know I haven't seen the Clone Wars or anything, but knowing that Katie Sackhoff plays that character or has played that character for so long just gives her an intimacy to what she's talking about beyond what she's saying. And it just makes it so like full when you're watching scenes like that. They feel so complete and real because she knows more than I know because she's been that character for so long. Like it's really fun to see it work that way.
That and Koska Reeves can DDT me any day of the week. Just although during that bar scene, I was thinking, it's like, do these bars have like space insurance? Because they're broke, like they look like concrete tables or something. I was like, what do they do? They just like people just fight in these bars and nobody ever has to pay for, I
mean, just think about all the bars that have been destroyed or hacked or people have been sliced up in Star Wars over the years.
I think they just probably have a whole back room of just extra tables because they just expect people to fight for no reason. Although I've been, like I normally do, I go down this rabbit hole where I watch all these videos of people who break down stuff, and it is kind of funny that menu board behind them actually has all kinds of things, including including space waffles and veg meat.
Space waffles,
and they also have like some of the animals that Jabba the Hutt ate. Tatooine. It's just interesting. All the different. There's like one that's the things that Anakin rides. I guess Attack of the Clones. Those weird turnip animals with legs. There's meat from that. It's just I just love the attention to detail that some of these people, when they put in Aramesh or whatever language they're doing, it's just crazy.
Fun stuff.
That, and we get to see the live action version of the spaceship, Bo-Katan spaceship as well.
That's true. Just parked, but we see it. Right? Okay. I think we're 30 minutes in. We need to talk about the reveal. We all knew a Jedi was going to show up. I have a feeling, especially when they were trapped. Like, okay, now's the time, right? There's like, this is when it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to be now. Then we get an X-Wing. That was the first clue. And I was like, oh, they're going there. Are they? Would they? It's likely, but will they? Then we get the figure, and it's okay. Then we get the lightsaber, but it's on the screen. It's black and white. We don't see the color. Then we get to see it, and it's green. Oh.
That gloved hand.
And then we get the gloved hand, and it's like, oh my God, can they do this? Can they do it? We don't see a face, but man, he kicks ass. Then he comes through the blast doors. They open them for him, and we get the Twin Sons music, and wow. So there's a lot to unwrap here. We got to unwrap how badass he was, and we got to unwrap the CGI. Right? Mark Hamill does return for the vocals. Gets credit.
Mm-hmm.
He was on set too when they did it.
Was he? Awesome. Okay. I'm going to start off, and then I'm just going to throw it to you guys. We've seen the CGI characters a couple times now. We saw, Grandma Tarkin, right? And we saw Leia. And then we saw Leia and Luke both sort of in, briefly in a flashback, right? On the last one, The Last Jedi? No?
Yes. Rise of Skywalker.
Yes. And then, of course, now we get Luke here, and it's not another actor. It is a CGI Luke. All right. At first, I didn't care because the music was just a beautiful moment. When he pulled it back and the music played, I was like, I can't believe they did it. This looks great.
And by the way, the music is called Binary Sunset.
Thank you. I was throwing twins in there, but it's binary. And then he spoke, and it felt wooden, but at the same time, it was such a great moment, and it played out so well that I really love this scene. I really love this scene. Flaws and all, I really love it. All right, it's all yours, guys. CGI Skywalker.
So I will say this: I think that Disney is learning with how to do the CGI de-aging, like CGI characters, because before I feel like they were just, here's a stand-in for where the person should be. Let's just CGI all of it, except for maybe the clothes, you know? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's how they did it with Rogue One. And that's how it felt, you know? It was very much like from here to here is all CGI. And then it kind of, as things kind of got, people were just like, no, that's too weird. They started toying with other ideas. And for specifically, I know for Rise of Skywalker, they had stand-ins lookalikes play the characters. So they only had to do partial CGI. Like they got Carrie Fisher's daughter to play Leia in that flashback scene. And you can tell it's not quite Leia, but it doesn't look as Uncanny Valley, you know? And then they did the same thing here. They got a lookalike. They got someone who looks very similar to 80s Mark Hamill, had him do all the acting, which is why some of the movements don't feel like Mark Hamill, but they did what they could. And then they just used CGI to kind of morph the face a little bit rather than just completely redoing the face. And I feel like that's the better way to do it than, you know, erase the head and replace it with all CGI. So I wasn't really taken aback by that, but I will say that I was kind of taken aback by the voice, because it felt very processed, I guess is a good way to put it. Like they definitely did some stuff to Mark Hamill's voice to make it not sound like 60, 70-year-old Mark Hamill.
They took the old out of his voice.
Smoker.
Yeah, they definitely sat there and they they took all the raspiness out of his voice and tried to make it sound like it, but at the same time they kind of made him sound more robotic, I guess is a good way to put it, than he needed to be.
So I think you just said they took all the Joker out of his voice.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Tried to get back to Luke. What about you, Vanessa? What did you think of this reveal?
You know, I thought first I'll talk about the reveal itself as opposed to how it looked. But I really thought when I saw it, like, okay, yeah, that's the best option. Because what the hell else is Luke Skywalker doing that if a baby Yoda is calling out, he is not going to answer? Right. It almost seems like a slap in the face when you put it all together. There is no other possible option unless he is frozen in carbonite or something that he would not go after this thing. You know, and how beautiful is it to kind of bring it full circle, right? From Master Yoda to, you know, young Grogu. It's just so poetic to do something like that. And I really thought too, it was a beautiful moment. And I love how they had Grogu responding to it too, as he approached and recognizing that someone was coming that he needed to be with, to know. You know, someone that he had called, you know.
I love it when he's watching the screen too.
I know, it's so cute. So yeah, I you know, pour one out for Mace, because that's really I would have loved that so much. But I think doing that with Luke is perfect, and I am really interested to see how it's going to play out in the future. But as far as CGI goes, I'm with Chris. This is the best we've seen in the Star Wars universe as far as CGI goes, or facial de-aging, like they were doing. And it's some of the best really that we've seen across the board. Like, it always looks a little bit weird. Remember, like in Ant-Man when they when they de-age.
Marvel has done some really awesome stuff. But
they do a good job, but it still always has that little bit of like that uncanny valley kind of feel to it. And to me, like you said, the first time I watched it, I didn't care. It didn't take me out of the moment at all. I probably had too many tears in my eyes to see it that closely. But if you really scrutinize it, yeah, it's gonna look bad compared to a human being, right? But it was pretty far-fetched to think they'd get Sebastian Stan to do the character, and I kind of like the idea of not recasting it, because that means there's no commitment to that character in the future. So we get a little bit of Luke Skywalker, and he's in this whole universe right now, and he's going to train Grogu for I wonder how long, because we know what's coming.
I mean, that's like 20 years down the road, though.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't even know if Ben's been born yet.
Yeah, they've been.
Yeah, there's a maybe, out, right? There's
Ben's like 4 years old.
He is?
That's what some say. Yeah, he's 4 years old, but others say not.
So yeah. I mean, overall, I think it was a good choice, and I'm not too mad about the CGI. Really, like I said, it's the best that I've seen in the Star Wars universe, so I can't fault it for that.
He needs to smile and the hair needs to move. Chris, I do want you to comment about the whole Luke thing, but what I'm going to ask, I wanted to make sure I asked you. R2D2 comes around the corner.
Why you ask just Chris that? That's rude. Okay,
like what about of us can love R2?
Was another Chris here? And me.
I know, but I know that Chris had to probably shed extra tears when that happened.
Well, it's that was almost even more unexpected. I didn't really expect R2 to show up. Right. And that moment was even more special because you could see that Grogu recognized R2 and R2 recognized Grogu. Yeah. So, he probably remembered him from being at the Jedi Temple, so it makes you wonder, did R2 grab Grogu on his head and run out with him?
Oh my God, that's a visual.
Cute.
So yeah, I mean, that was a great moment because R2 has been a part of he's the only character that didn't have his memory erased when it comes to droids and stuff. So he's remembered everything throughout this whole mess.
Yeah, Anakin never let them wipe his memory, and Luke did the same thing.
Yeah, and so he's probably the most troubled, broken-hearted character in the whole Star Wars universe because he's watched a lot of these people die or get killed and hurt and stuff, and he's been there throughout it all. So, but to see R2D2 show up, I think that was the moment where it felt like the ending of some of the original trilogies. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like remember like Empire Strikes Back with their end and you see them all lined up. It's like when they get in the elevator, it felt like one of those ending shots of a Star Wars film.
It really did. I'm gonna cry. Why did you ask Chris that question?
Well, tell me what was your reaction to R2? We'll get back to you, Chris, about Luke. Tell me what was your reaction, Vanessa. I want to hear it.
I was crying. I was definitely crying the whole time through that whole everything that was happening. And as Grogu's holding on to Din's leg, and then R2 comes around the corner. Oh my God!
We've never seen so much hero feet. I just because that whole scene, all you see is Luke's feet and Din Djarin's feet. There's just a lot of feet, and then Well, anyway,
it was so cute and so sweet, and really just it puts you at ease. It puts us at ease, right? The viewer, to know, okay, he was a little nervous because he doesn't know Luke. He doesn't want to leave his dad figure now, but R2 makes everything better.
Yes.
He heals everything.
Yeah. Feel the same way, Slapman?
Oh yeah, it was great. Just a side note though, and imagine how uncomfortable that X-wing flight back to wherever Luke came from is going to be, with Grogu having to sit on his lap because there's no other room in the cockpit of the X-wing, and Grogu's just like, "Ooh ball, ooh ball."
Yeah, I was like, why didn't Mando go? Well, where did I flip when Mando sit? Back in the back with
R2. Holding on for dear life.
That's a whole other question, right?
I know. All right, Chris, back to Luke. One of the cool things you sent me was this mirror image of the ending of Rogue One with Darth Vader, and the part of the ending here where Luke all the dark troopers, right? Talk about that. Tell me more.
Well, I think I came across I think the best thing is when these type of events happen, you go on TikTok and you see all these people who are like taking clips or videotape them crying or whatever. And one of the cool things is somebody said, I think they took a quote where it's like, "You're just like your father," or whatever. And then it goes to, Rogue One, where Darth Vader's in that hallway, and then you see Luke in the hallway, and then you see him going slashing down the hallway, and you see the symmetry in that. Also there's a part where Luke is fighting and he takes his lightsaber back like that and he deflects a laser bolt. Mm-hmm. And that's Anakin does the very same thing in the prequels. Yeah. So it's just interesting, all the symmetry with a lot of these things that are happening in this, and just to see, in the same way that we always saw slow Darth Vader. We never really saw like Darth Vader in his prime, and Rogue One showed us that badass Darth Vader that we always imagined, right, that we got to see a little bit in like Rebels. But this one, we got to see badass Luke. Mm-hmm. You got to see him in his prime, where he's really become Master Luke, and he's like, he's just,
no whining.
No whining. No milk. He doesn't even have time to whine. He's just walking around with his big cloak on, and it's like, you do not want to get in the middle of that. He's just bad at. These robots are just basically might as well be little wooden toy soldiers, in the hallway. It's so freaking badass seeing that.
That Force crush was
that was one of the moments. Like, I think this series has really brought out me yelling in my living room. And when he did, I was like, "Oh!"
Right?
I was so excited because evidently the Clone Wars cartoon that came on before they created the actual Filoni one, there's a scene where he takes General Grievous. Mace Windu uses Force crush powers to crush General Grievous, and that's the reason he coughs, is because of that. So that but to see Luke in his full front, of course, he's not crushing a human being, so you can sort of get away with doing that, even though it's more Sithy, I guess. But yeah, when he's just slashing, he's like force pushing people out of the way, and he's reflecting things, and just that whole thing. Like, I love that anticipation moment. We're waiting for the elevator. Ding.
Oh no.
Ding, ding. And everybody's waiting, like, oh, what the hell's gonna happen? And then he like gets to the door, and then like, all of them were like, "Don't open." Fennec's like,
"Yeah,
don't open that." Because I guess they don't really.
I don't know. They don't know.
Understand, but yeah, it's such a. There's been so many great badass moments in this series, especially this season. Ahsoka, Luke. Good.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Boba Fett, and even again, there's another character we never really saw the badass side of, Boba Fett.
All right.
They've done for characters, so if they want freaking Jar Jar Binks fighting next season, I don't care, because I want to see badass Jar Jar Binks. Because I feel like I'm at a point now where I feel like they could take any character And they could probably make him good.
They've earned our trust.
That's if they make that little green rabbit dude from the comics show up, do it.
Do it. Oh my God, that green rabbit dude.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not that.
That's the Jack.
But yeah, oh my God, it's like. Oh, by the way, somebody pointed out that if you go look at the Ahsoka episode, if you look at the drawings, there's one drawing where they show that that temple or whatever that the woman's in. If you look to the left, R2-D2 is to the left of that. So it makes, was R2-D2 supposed to show up earlier? So so now it makes me want to go back and watch that scene to see if maybe he might be in the background or something. So I don't know, but yeah, just so many badass moments. And let me just mention previously, I don't agree with the special effects with Luke, but it is one of those things to where I really don't care anymore. Because it was great to see that character show up. They did use a different thing that they've done in like the movies. They did more of a deep fake version of it, which allows for more natural lighting and stuff. But still, it was very uncanny valley. The eyes are weird. The eyes are usually the window of the soul, and that usually what kind of throws you off. I feel like they should have, with all the great technology of replacing backgrounds, they still can't replace a human being properly. That's crazy. But I don't, I really don't care because it's such a wonderful moment that brought back feelings of being that kid watching the original films, and to bring that part back is just amazing. You know, I mean, even as a grown adult, I turned the big 50 in January, so I'm old as AF. So,
what Capricorns in the house?
So for me for that one moment feel like I was 6 years old again, you know, I can't think of anyone but, you know, Peyton Reed. I can't think of anybody but Jon Favreau or Filoni. I mean, they've really made me feel like a kid again. It was something I didn't think. I mean, I've always kind of felt like that with Star Wars. Star Wars is the one thing that's kept me sane throughout my whole life. It's the one thing that I always go to when life is down or things aren't going my way. I can always go to that place, galaxy far, far away, and it makes me happy. And so this. I'm crying on video. So this show, I think it's redeemed so many things about Star Wars that I hope that all this toxicity can just go away and people focus on the good things. And that hopefully that's what people get out of this. That's one thing that I'll definitely take away that makes me happy to be a Star Wars fan.
You know, one thing I really took out of it too, in this episode in particular, is that Star Wars or the series doesn't necessarily concern itself with the age of its heroes either, right? Because Din, he's not a young man. Boba is not a young man. Like, these guys have lived their lives and they've been through it and they have experience, and it's really nice to see adult characters, you know, people who not only are playing a certain age but also look the part to have that experience and to have that background to them. Because when Din took off his helmet to look at Grogu, you really see that, like, he's been through it. He had his head pushed into a wall, you know, and he's not a young man. So I'm sure he feels it in every part of his body. And, you know, I think it's really important to show characters like that. You know, it makes a really strong statement, or at least it did for me when I saw it in that moment.
Absolutely. Fennec, Vanessa, at the end gets to show off a little bit. She gets to show off entirely through the entire episode, but specific the end, we're going to wrap up our discussion with the reveal of the book of Boba Fett coming next year with the Stinger. We've already talked about you know, Bib Fortuna, but having her, you know, come in and blast those blast them away. What I want everybody to chime in on this, but Vanessa, I want to start with you with Fennec. as the female character kicking ass.
Oh, I love it. I love it. She's such a badass. I mean, they all are, but I really love that her and Boba are this team now.
Yeah.
And to see them, and she goes back and gets the blue milk, or no, that's not the blue milk, it's the other one. Spotchka, yeah, the Spotchka, and sits on the side of the throne. Like she's the tough guy too, you know. I really like, it's opening up a whole different conversation too, but I like how the women are also the tough guys. Mm-hmm. It's so cool to see that. But I think maybe we heard a little bit of his theme song too, right?
Yeah,
when they sat down, and that was pretty awesome sounding. Yeah. I look forward to that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you enjoyed the moment when Cara Dune knocks out Moff Gideon too.
when her gun breaks the first time, all I could think was like, yes, because that means she's got to use her hands, and you can't have a UFC fighter not have her use her hands, right? It was so cool.
All right, so let's dive into this reveal real quick. We're almost at an hour, so we do have to make it quick. Slatman. We were all wanting a Boba Fett show, and they didn't announce it, but we kind of knew something was coming. Was this what you expected, him taking over the underworld?
I mean, yeah, that's been his plan since he was a child.
Was it? Has it been?
Yeah.
To take over the Hutts?
Oh no, just to take over the underworld, like you said, to be remembered.
Yeah, well, he's setting himself up.
Better way to be remembered than to take over the underworld. Side note, though, I think we're getting to the point too with our actors, where a lot of the actors are just as much fans of Star Wars as a whole as Filoni and Favreau are, as writers, producers, directors, etc. Because the actress, I don't remember her name, the actress who plays Fennec, has cosplayed as Leia at various Comic Cons in the past.
Oh wow!
So she's a huge fan of Star Wars, and I think it really shows with how she portrays this character. And God, I can't wait to see her in not only the Boba Fett show, but also in the Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm. And she's 57 years old.
She doesn't look
amazing.
She doesn't look badass. So.
That is badass.
So Christopher G. Moore, seeing Jabba's palace again. What did that moment bring to you?
I see it every day. You know what? I mean, that created happy tears.
Happy tears.
Because I was like, they're not showing. I was like, I know that we had a stinger like first season, so I was like, there's got to be some kind of stinger, and so they was just playing music. They weren't showing any production art. It's like, something's being sneaky here. And then we go to like Jabba's palace, and at first I was like, wait a minute, is Luke training Grogu at Jabba's palace? Because I think Jabba's palace used to be like a temple or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure, and then we go in there, and it's Bib Fortuna, and I was like, holy crap! I was like so happy, and they even got like some of the same people who played like one of the dancers from Return of the Jedi. She was in the background, so they actually got some of the original people.
She darted back.
And they put those crazy spider monk things that used to live in Jabba's palace before Jabba. Like, they're in the background. It's so cool.
Yeah, and it's like we also have that same thing where we see a shadow. I think we saw like a shadow of Luke Skywalker before he showed up. I mean, there's all these different Gamorrean guards, which we've got a little bit of earlier this season, but yeah, and then the whole time I'm like, oh crap! I was like, I hope they don't open up the trap door.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm like, oh,
don't on the trap door.
You all people should know, don't step on the trap door, because I thought Fennec was going to drop down there, and I was like, no. So yeah, where's the? Oh, it's got the little trap door.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, but yeah, just to see like, evidently Bib Fortuna's been dealing with the pandemic like we have. And
large and in charge.
Evidently, when you become the Lord of the Underworld, you just get to sit around and grow fat, because he had some huge, was it Leku or whatever, those tendrils or whatever. And then he also uses the phrase which they added to the New Hope, like McClunky.
I know.
Where what's Greedo? He says that right before he shot McClunky. So that's also in his.
So silly.
And then Fennec just comes in and shoot him, and then like that. I want that picture of him sitting on that throne with Fennec sitting there. I want that, put that in the living room. That is like that's like a scene, like an end scene of something. Yeah, and it's like, oh man, there was we talked about this previously, I think, with Clone Wars, but there was a game called Star Wars 1313, which was supposed to follow Boba Fett being in the underworld in Coruscant. And so we never really got to do that, see any kind of form of Boba Fett and following him. And to see a series that's based on him, like going around like the gangs of Tatooine or wherever. I mean, to me, that excites me. And it's weird that I'm excited. I'm most excited about the evil parts of the Star Wars universe because we don't usually get that. We're always focused on the good people. And so, oh man. And then because Robert Rodriguez is also an executive producer on the series, which was just announced. Oh man.
Yeah, he directed the episode when Boba Fett returned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So I was like, you know what? It's good to be a Star Wars fan. This makes me so happy, with all the dumpster fire that is 2020. When we have wonderful things like these to look forward to, that we'll have that series that they've actually already been shooting Boba Fett, and they're going to start the third season right after that. So we get to see two great series in December of next year.
I wonder if they're both going to come out at the same days, like if they're going to do. Like both episodes are going to come out on Fridays, or if one's going to come out on Wednesday and one's going to come out on Friday.
From what I understand, you're going to get Boba Fett first, and I think it's only 4 episodes.
Oh,
and then it's like a mini series, so there might be like 1.5 hour episodes. We don't know, but we're getting 4 episodes of that, and then it's going to go into Mandalorian 3.
And then I guess it'll connect.
Or it change.
But it is great that Jon Favreau. He was on Good Morning American. He talked about, like, he told the people the same way he kept Grogu a secret. He's like, can we keep this series a secret and make it the surprise after you watch it? I love that. That's showmanship right there. That's amazing that he could keep that under wraps. And also that they filmed Luke's stuff like a year ago and nobody has said anything about it.
Wow. Yeah, Mark Hamill came out and said, I can't believe this was kept a secret for a year.
Yeah. So it's just amazing that they able to keep that under wraps. Nobody said anything, but the less people you let know, the easier it is to keep that secret. And those are the kind of things I look forward to on this series, is things that just like, oh, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah. All right, well, let's do this. Let's wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you've been listening this long, wow. Pat yourself on the back. I hope you've enjoyed us chatting about this. I hope you've been as excited about this finale as we are. Hit the subscribe button down below if you would. That one little click and everybody will benefit. And then hit the like button, dislike button. All the little Boba Fett's and before news. Everybody's got toys.
Chris said, "Do it."
Yeah. Let's get into this. Let's stop my rambling. Slatman, you are up first, sir. Quickly, your final thought, score, and I got to know your favorite team. Score is going to be 5, just to say it.
The score is going to be a 10 out of 5.
10 out of 5. 10 out of 5, folks.
They've really kind of upped the bar for what they can do with Star Wars on Disney Plus. I don't know how they're going to top this, because this episode was fan-freaking-tastic from beginning to end. The only downsides I can think of are very minor nitpicks. And when you count very minor nitpicks, there are what people consider perfect episodes and perfect movies out there that still have very minor nitpicks, So I think this is as close to perfect as we can get. And I loved it. I loved every little bit of it. I loved the characters. I loved the music. I loved the action. I loved the sobbing moments of heartbreak, but happiness at the same time. and I was cheering so hard during the entirety of Luke's hallway scene. Yeah, during his hallway scene, it was awesome. I've always wanted to see this. I've loved Star Wars like my entire life, and this is the Luke that I always imagined that he would be after Return of the Jedi, and I'm so happy that we finally got to see this on the screen.
Yeah. Did we get Jedi Academy now? I don't know.
I would hope so. Those are some of my favorite books outside of the Thrawn series. God. Oh man.
As long as they're better than those kids in the Revenge of the Sith. These kids have no talent whatsoever. Sorry. Yeah, that's what they were doing. They were like, wow, no wonder Anakin.
Look, mistakes were made, guys. Okay.
Oh man, my favorite scene is when R2 shows up.
Oh, nice.
I loved that. Because it makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't Luke bring R2 with him? R2 freaking helps him like fly the X-Wing all the time, and it's perfect. And I hope this makes me so excited for the R2 and C-3PO show that we're getting in like 3 years.
Oh, it's like animated.
I thought it was live action.
Oh, is it live action?
I thought it was. I don't know. The concept art I thought made it look like it was going to be live action. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited for everything coming out Star Wars now. Like this has got my hype level up to 100.
Yeah, Luke was saying, take that, Daredevil. Marvel doesn't know everything. I'll go always scene that bust your ass. All right, Vanessa.
My father did it. I
did it. Oh man. Let us know, what is your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene?
This was just, I am so glad that I got to watch this series because it's been such a rewarding show, and the payoff of this last episode has just been so great. I really stand by what I said in saying that this is one of the best pieces of television that I've seen. I mean, if not the best, it's definitely up there, because just the story itself and the way everything played out and the resolution, it's just a beautiful contained episode, even with everything leading up to it. This episode is still a contained story in itself, and that's so amazing. Our little Grogu is gonna grow up and to be a Jedi. I'm so proud of him. He went to school, he got learned up, and now he's going to Jedi school. I'm so proud. So happy about that. I love that.
All because of the macaroons.
All because of the macaroons. That's right. I'm so happy that it was Luke that showed up. I was really worried that it would be someone I didn't know at all. Someone that y'all would know, but me as just your average Star Wars fan, wouldn't know, and I would be a little disappointed because I'd have to get to know this new character, blah blah blah. And of course I'm disappointed it wasn't Mace because I really, really wanted Mace. But I think Luke is just such a great choice. It made for such a strong, powerful moment. We got to see R2 again. That just made my heart so happy. So yeah, they can do no wrong in my book. This 100, 1,000. However many, can I add them all up, all the stars I've ever given up until this point, and give it to the show because it definitely deserves it. So yeah, a 5. Favorite scene, it definitely would have been that R2 scene.
Oh,
Chris,
wow,
because
nice.
that was a beautiful scene. And there's so many cool scenes, there's so many beautiful scenes, there's so many badass scenes. So many I can choose from, but I'm just gonna be the sap and take the scene where Din is saying goodbye to Grogu, and he takes off his helmet, and they share that moment, and then right before R2 comes in. So basically all of that. Yeah, I just love it so much. And if I'm not sappy, it would be when Cara Dune is fighting. Anytime she's fighting with her gun.
Pardon me, and she even makes Fennec duck. Yeah. I love that. All right, Christopher G. Moore, everybody settle down for a nice little.
No, Chris is good.
Oh, we got 20 minutes here.
I know.
Final thoughts for favorite scene.
By the way, wasn't that bad when Fennec moved out of the way of a laser bolt? Did you?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that was badass.
Oh my god! I was like, I've never
shot the one through the cracks.
You always see people standing there getting shot, and it's like you've never seen anybody outmaneuver a laser bolt. And Fennec's badass enough. She's like, yeah, you ain't shooting me.
It's her new machine guts that she has.
Yeah, I mean, our title character only just sits there and takes it whenever he gets shot. He doesn't move out of the way.
Yeah. By the way, Avengers Endgame, take your female group. That they just showed up looking good together. And this one, no one really mentions it. It's just a group of women. Kicking ass.
Because it's a group of badasses.
It doesn't matter what gender they are. It's so, yeah, and that's the great part of it. It doesn't have to be called out,
And did you notice they kicked out the other guy, Mandalorian, that was hanging out with Bo-Katan? And
everybody's been wondering,
we can't have an all-girl group if there's a guy.
Yeah, I think he went to the bathroom and he came out where everybody go?
He did tweet out that there are answers for that. So I think he's going to be in another series.
I think he turned into the blue jeans guy.
Yeah, he's blue jeans guy. He's red shirt.
He just he ate a bad space waffle and had to go home. Had to crap in his helmet. Anyway, let me get to the important stuff. This is one of the best endings of any series and one of the best episodes of any series. And this is coming from someone that loves the Hannibal series. And I think the arc of these characters over the last 2 seasons has ended in the perfect way. And sure, Grogu is now Gone, but
not for long.
Not for long. Yeah, it's a rhyme. It had such a great build up to this wonderful moment. You had so many badass sequences there's more badass sequences than all the newer films combined, and it's crazy that they could do this on the level of a TV series, but it's all about heart. And, if anything, this show shouldn't be called The Mandalorian. It should be called The Fandalorian, because I feel like for any fans of Star Wars, this is what we've been wanting.
So if Hannibals or Fannibals are Mandalorians, Fandalorians?
Fandos, whatever you want to call them.
Fandibles?
Fandible. That sounds like teeth.
It is.
But yeah, I really think that this show does a great job of balancing everything, balancing the humor, balancing the action, balancing the heart. And when they always talk about there has to be this sort of levelness with the Force. I think that they've found that balance of the Force with this series.
Nice.
And how they create these characters that we care about, how they really create imaginary and memorable action sequences, and they take us to worlds we haven't been to before. And at the same time, they show us stuff that we do remember, or great callbacks, or even ways of even making fun of stuff that we've made fun of before. This episode is the penultimate of all that. It's really, if it had ended here, I would be okay, because it's such a great ending to the main story with Din. And sure, he has more stories to tell, and he's at some point he's going to meet back up with Grogu, the further adventures, I guess. Man, because we've shown this character grow from the very first episode to where he would never take his helmet off, to where he had certain things that he followed as a Mandalorian, and as how he hated robots, and now he doesn't. It's like other than Dark Troopers, but yeah, it's so well done, and to have all these different directors come in and add their own little impression on things, and for Filoni and Favreau to sort of like find that right balance to everything, and using technology to the nth degree, that is able to take us to these galaxies far, far away. So yeah, there's not enough good words in the dictionary to say how well this episode came off.
That's true.
That makes us so excited for not only what this series does, but what other series do. Because I think, they got some good people behind the wheel and take me to wherever you want to go. So yeah, 5 out of 5, infinity out of infinity, whatever you want to call it. However many stars are in the galaxy far, far away, this gets it, because this is an amazing episode that tore me up. Still, when I think about it, as you've seen the 2 times I've teared up on this episode, which is I'm almost embarrassed about, but at the same time, I'm also not ashamed of my passion of the things that I love, because without Star Wars, I don't know where I would be right now. So here I go again. So yeah, it's an awesome episode. If I were to have to pick a specific scene, I probably would have to pick the same scene that Vanessa's. The taking off the helmet was just emotional. But I'm gonna be greedy as Bib Fortuna, who's been eating all the food on Tatooine, and I'm also gonna say the badass Luke Skywalker
nice
fighting in the hallway.
Yeah.
Those type of things are now what we see when we see these characters. Now that when we see Boba Fett, remember him fighting. When you see Luke Skywalker, you know what he's fighting. When you think of Darth Vader, you think about Rogue One. So to be able to create those moments where you sort of redefined what you think about these characters and really show the highest level of badassery, and that's what this series has done.
Mm-hmm.
To provide what fans have been wanting, but not in fan service ways.
Yeah.
I'll go keep this really quick. I absolutely love this episode. I want to give it 10 out of 5 or whatever we're doing. It hit all the check marks. It rang all the bells. It was emotional. It was funny. It was exciting. It was scary at times. I would give that there was some really tense moments, and every actor stepped up and did their part. Everybody was fantastic in this. I seen Slave One do the things it does best. Spinning around and shooting at the same time and blowing out the TIE fighters. I mean, come on, this thing has everything you would want in 45 minutes that we usually try to get in a 2.5 hour movie. Wow, great job. Of course, I don't think it could have done it without however many hours of series we got before this, but at the same time, it's an accomplishment. Yay. Favorite scene. It's hard not to pick anything in that finale. Since you guys picked it all, I'm gonna go a little bit earlier in the show, and the Dark Trooper reveal when they come out the door, and when he puts those, Mando goes down the hall. No. And it's like he's panicking, and that one trooper puts his hands between the doors and opens up, and you get that Darth Vader-y feel to that helmet, to the face of the Dark Trooper. It isn't Darth Vader, and it doesn't have, it's not that. It's not a ripoff, but it has that same, intensity to it. I just felt it, and then that battle is just fantastic. How is Mando going to get out of this? And taking those punches to the head, and then using every trick in the book, and then to top it off by sending all of them out into space. It's quite possibly the best thing ever. Because what was he going to do? They were all going to come through that door, and to see that, like, those first two are like scratching at the floor. It was such a great moment, and made those things so terrifying that if we didn't believe how terrifying they were, we wouldn't be so awestruck, or as awestruck at the end when Luke is cutting them all down, because we know what they can do, and he just is super badass. What a great show! What a great show! Every episode this year for this season, we've been talking about raise the bar, raise the bar, raise the bar. Only one of them didn't do that, but at the same time, it didn't fail either. It was still a great episode. It just it was, you had to stop and breathe, and that was the episode that did it. This one, however, this episode just really puts the exclamation point on this season and ends it terrifically. Thanks to Jon Favreau and Filoni and all the directors and actors and everybody that put their hearts into this, because you made a lot of people very, very happy. Millions.
Yeah.
Across the galaxy. I will say one thing. Well, here's two things. We are going to do 2 more episodes about this season. So stick around for those. We're going to do one episode is just looking back at our favorite moments. We'll try not to keep, have all the favorite moments in this last hour. Throughout the entire season. But we're gonna get together and we're gonna count down our top 10 moments are, or more. And then we're going to do a looking forward to the future projections, all kinds of things, theories, whatever we're thinking of. Where does Grogu go? What happens to Mando? Where was Boba Fett going to go? And we're just going to rattle off for about an hour about all these series and shows. And I think we all have ideas.
I have a crazy one to talk about when we get there.
Right now, the second, but we're going to wait. We're going to let these boil and simmer and bring you, we hope, a very entertaining show. We do have a couple movies that we have to review in between, Wonder Woman and Soul, to mention a few.
Yay!
But we'll be back doing this, so look forward to that. So, Vanessa, Christopher, Slatman, thank you so much for this ride. I can't believe 8 weeks is over. But wow, this was so much fun.
It was such a short 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Now we have to wait 365 days for the next one.
I don't want to wait.
Man, that's going to be, yeah.
At least we have a bunch of great Marvel stuff to watch while we wait.
I know Marvel's they've made a thing where they want every month they want a new series or a new movie coming out. Isn't that crazy?
We're going to have a lot.
It's going to be
a lot to keep us busy in 2021.
But it's not going to be Grogu.
Not going to be Grogu.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh, yeah?
I got him he's got a partner now, so he's not lonely.
I had a C-3PO's oldest friend there.
And look, he's got a Grogu pin.
Oh, wow.
He's eating a frog. Oh, I can't get it right.
Best buds.
Yeah,
best. Awesome.
Best buds.
All right. Well, that seems like a perfect moment to say good night.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Good night, McClunky.
Oh, no. Good night.
Good night.
Slatman, we're waiting on you.
Good night.